Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning this morning, and a happy TGIF to everybody out there. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be live with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports meets that thing called life. We are inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, and we have a jam-packed show for you today. As you know, on Friday, we have our trio of segments here. We have the beautiful and wonderful annoying moment of the week, followed by the the annoying moment of the week brought to you by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. Then we'll hop into Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, that acronym, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero, and that will be featuring my partner Juanita Ward at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then we'll hop into announcing the top dog of the week. The top dog of the week will probably be brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll announce our top dog of the week. And then we will get into, for the very first time ever, I will have the honor and the privilege of welcoming to the show Carvel DeWitt, who will be joining us. She has spent time in our community as an AAU coach for almost a decade, as well as coaching as an assistant under Stafford Spreeder with the West Genesee girls basketball team when they had the fantastic twins and in the Smith twins that just did an incredible job. And I got to follow them all the way through their career for the most part, which was really, really cool, and got to see them go all the way to the state championship game down in, where were we? Oh my goodness, Albany, right? We were in Albany because I was traveling all over the place from Binghamton to Albany to see the boys and the girls play. So really excited to have Carvel DeWitt on the show to talk about so many different things, including women in sports, equality, what she's taken away from being a coach, what she's doing now, what she looks to do in the future. And, of course, she'll put me on the hot seat in rapid fire. So we'll have a lot of fun with Carly in just a little bit here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, as she will join us in about an hour from now. So with all of that being said, great show set up for you and very excited to have it, as always, as we hop into the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like, and it allows me to, in a comedic way and, in a very real way as well, go off about something that's just on my mind. And this one is a very easy one, and it kind of just came to me this morning. So we'll get into the annoying moment of the week right now here where sports meets life on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora to start off our TGIF.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
You have to be that crazy. I guess so. The annoying moment of the week for this week has to be the way that people treat people in the sense of the hate that you give. And there's layers to this conversation, so let's start it. Now, this is obviously coming off of some thoughts that I have with what's happened with Syracuse. Now, Syracuse, obviously, has been losing some players. They've lost them in the men's basketball program. They've lost them in the women's basketball program. And losing these players has obviously affected the future of these teams. But the reality that these players live with and that the coaches live with is the hate that you give. Now, I know people are frustrated. I know people are upset. I know people are over it. I get that, right? You just lost in the Sweet 16. people should be happy that you advanced there, but some people are just never happy about anything. And so this on top of that is bad news. As soon as bad news happens, I see some people that call themselves Syracuse fans just flip the heck out. Now, a real fan is going to be maybe bothered by something. Maybe, they'll be like, this stinks. But they're not going to go on social media and threaten to kill themselves and they hate the team and yada yada. So things happen, right? The times we live in have put us in a place where it's very easy to transfer. And because it's so easy to transfer, some players who are unhappy or things just aren't working out, they're going to go somewhere else. And for Syracuse, it's counted against them more than it's counted for them. A lot of players are heading off from their women's basketball and their men's basketball teams. And it may not be over, from what I've heard. It may still not be over. There might be more to these stories. And if there is, buckle up, Buttercup, if you're already being negative. And it's my annoying moment of the week because it frustrates me to see the hate that people are sending out there. I understand that not everybody agrees with the moves that are being made, and I know that some people are mad at Boeheim and blaming Boeheim and all of this. I get that. I know you're sad. I know you're mad. I know you're frustrated. But your attacking of the kids and your attacking of Jim Boeheim in your hate speech, your hate language, you got to stop. You got to stop. And I got to come out and say something about it because how would you like it? How would you like it if somebody threatened your kids on social media, face-to-face, in the hallway? How would you feel if somebody threatened your kids? How would you feel if you woke up this morning and somebody had written a message to you publicly that said, I hope you die. I hope you fail. I hope you break your leg. I hate you. I think you're the worst player ever. I think you're the worst coach ever. I think your family should be ashamed of you. How would you feel if somebody wrote that about your kid today? Or about your mom, or about your dad, or about your best friend, or about you? How would you feel? I'm a nonviolent person. If somebody wrote something about my friends, I'd be strapping up ready to go. Be like, show me where they are. You know what I mean? Because we protect our own. Not that you're going to go out and kill somebody. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you stick up for those you love. So my annoying moment of the week this week is I understand that you're frustrated. And I understand that you're upset. I understand that people leaving the Syracuse program, and you're a Syracuse fan, that makes you angry. That makes you mad, and it makes you confused, and it makes you feel like all hope is lost. I get that. But how many of you didn't hope in the team this year and look at where they went? How many people thought this team was going to make the Sweet 16? I would venture to say not even half the fan base. You want to look at my bracket? I had them in the Sweet 16, losing to Houston. I had them go as far as they went. So, I can't sit here and say that I thought this team was trash. I didn't. I didn't think they were going to win a national championship. But I thought that they, in the tournament, making it to the tournament, that they would go to the Sweet 16. And they did. And I'm proud of them. And you should be too. But yes, Rob Braswell's leaving. Yeah, Marek Dolezaj's done. Yeah, Kadari Richmond's leaving. John Bolzak's leaving. And Quincy's got his name in the draft to gauge information. He's not gone yet. So, yes, those moving pieces have happened. And yeah, on the girls' team, double-digit players are gone. And yeah, that's unheard of under Coach Q. And it's very confusing. So I understand that, as a fan, some of you are concerned. But going to jump off the ledge is pretty stupid and pretty ridiculous and ill-advised. So I can honestly tell you that, yeah, does it look great? No. Is it nerve-wracking? Sure. But should you be going on social media attacking people? Definitely not. And I try to not read a lot of the stuff. Good morning to Tammy. Good morning to Jenna. Good morning to everybody out there. Shout out. What's up, John Wallace Jr.? So I understand I understand your frustration. What I don't understand is your hate, because I'm not a hateful person. I don't hate anybody. I genuinely don't. I don't hate my exes. I don't hate friends that aren't friends anymore. I don't hate teachers that tried to do me dirty. Now, will I talk about my experiences? Yeah. But talking about my experiences, I have to detach the hate from it before I could talk about it publicly, because I don't want to spread hate. I want to be able to show people that you can laugh about things that have happened in your life, like find the positive, find the levity in it, find the knowledge and the wisdom in it, and the learning tools in it, and not let that person take you down. So, and it does. It hurts me. It genuinely hurts me to see the amount of hate that's been put out there. I shouldn't say, no, it does hurt me. I mean, not like, oh my gosh, I can't live. It's just more of the feeling of, I can't believe that this is what this world has gotten to. And after everything we went through with Corona, how have you not grown? How have you not grown as a human being? Like, for real, though. You know, I don't get it. So it is this week's annoying moment of the week, because you need to be better. Stop being a jerk. These kids are going to do what they want to do. And with all due respect, whether you hate them or love them, they're going to leave. But let me tell you something. If you hate them hardcore, why would they come back? If you send death threats and hate mail to Quincy, like F you, you're leaving, blah, 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 why would he come back to Syracuse? You're almost securing what you don't want to happen. It's almost like when a girl tells you or a guy tells you, like, hey, I need some space to think about our relationship, and you just flip out and F you, I hate you, and all this stuff. We've all, I've made my mistakes. People have made their mistakes. But if you say that, why would that person still be with you? If they were thinking about being with you, now they're not. Now they're not. So, watch what you say to people, because number one, you shouldn't be spreading hate. Number two, why would you want to hurt somebody? Number three, it's their decision. If 10,000 people said don't be a broadcaster, I would still be a broadcaster. And it would be sad that 10,000 strangers were just evil, but I'm still going to do it. Some of the closest people to me growing up said some of the meanest things. Hateful things. And they hurt. And you got to work through them. But if I have any advice to Joe Girard III or Buddy Boeheim or Jimmy Boeheim or Marek Dolezaj or Quincy Guerrier or Kadari Richmond or John Bolzak or Robert Braswell or Jim Boeheim himself, I would say keep doing the best you can. Make the decisions you feel are the best. Trust yourself. And don't read the hate mail. Just don't read it. I know it's hard, but don't. Why would you knowingly put yourself through suffering? I had somebody say that to me this week, that we must suffer on purpose, essentially. And I was like, who in their right mind would suffer on purpose? That sounds like the dumbest thing in the world. Why would you suffer on purpose? Yeah, let me stick my finger in these coals because I heard that it hurts. Why would you do that? It's so stupid. People suffer enough. Why would you suffer on purpose? And so I know that these players are trying to figure things out to the best of their ability. I know that they're working hard. And I know that if you're not going to support them, shut up. Honestly, with all due respect, keep your mouth shut. If you got nothing nice to say, just shut up. Right? You can constructively be upset, but don't attack these kids. You know? The things about, like, Joe Girard and whatnot, it's like, come on. Come on. Okay, you don't like him. Whatever. But let the man breathe. And let him live a little bit. I mean, for goodness sakes, he's got parents. He's got friends. He's got a family that's looking at you nasty. And I'm going to tell you something that you need to know. Parents watch this stuff when their kids are being recruited. Parents watch this. And they don't like their kids seeing this stuff. They can't stand seeing this stuff. And, you know, the reality of it all is they can't stand seeing this stuff. They can't stand seeing these things happen to their kids. And some of them, it makes them detract from wanting to send their kids to Syracuse or to send them anywhere. You have to understand that as a parent, if you're seeing this hate stuff, you're thinking twice about sending your kid. So, Syracuse, if you're worried about losing players, you need to worry about losing more than just the ones you lost if you continue to speak the language that you're speaking. Because the parents are watching you put this disgusting language on social media, and you know what it's making them think? I'm not sending my kid there. I'm not dealing with that BS. Why would you send your kid in enemy fire? That's stupid. Trevor Cooney never got booed more than inside of the dome. He played for Syracuse, and Syracuse fans hated him more than anybody else. And he's one of the greatest three-point shooters Syracuse has ever had. So, really, genuinely, think about this. And I use fans in the quotes because my real fans, you're out of this discussion. I love y'all, and I respect y'all from here to tomorrow. But to the other people that call themselves fans that are just miserable old trolls, do us all a favor and watch the game from home. Shut down your social media and, I don't know, talk to Jesus, say some prayers, figure it out. Before you open your mouth again, think about it. Man, I didn't think I had to quote Bambi. I thought we lived in a world where people like knew stuff. But to quote Bambi, you know, I would have to tell you straight up that if you have nothing nice to say, to quote that movie, don't say anything at all. Because, again, the parents are watching this stuff, and they're listening to stuff, and they're reading the stuff. So how you act, you know, they're seeing it. We're all seeing it. And opposing fan bases are seeing it that are trying to recruit the same players that you want to come to Syracuse. So remember that, too. Listening to stuff, and they're reading because they're going, well, why would you come to Syracuse? Look, we'll be nice to you. So how you act, don't. My dad said, people are going to hate you. Don't give them a reason. They're seeing it. We're all seeing it. My dad always told me that. And opposing fan bases are seeing it that are trying to recruit the same players that you want to come to Syracuse. They're frustrated, they're confused. So remember that, too. Next season. Because they're going, well, why would you come to Syracuse? Look, we'll be nice to you. It's like taking an open wound. My dad said, people are going to hate you. Don't give them a reason. There's a wound. My dad always told me that. Syracuse is trying to fix it. I understand that people are upset, they're frustrated, they're confused, and they're nervous about next season. Jenna said, of course, it's you're only going to make it worse. It's like taking an open wound and there may be better players. As bad as I don't like to say that, there's a wound. Just Syracuse is trying to fix it. Give all these kids a chance to go where they need to go to grow. And you're right, they might come back to our team and play for you. Jenna said, of course, it's nerve-wracking. We want to win, but who knows what's going to happen next year? There may be better players. But as bad as I don't like to say that coming in, I'm so worried that my son wants to come to Syracuse to play. I don't go where they need to go to grow, and you're right. They might come back to our team and play for you. That's smart. Don't be petty. Gene said, good morning. What up, brother? How you doing? Jenna said, right, agree, but he's someone's kid. I'm so worried that my son wants to come to Syracuse to play. I don't let my son read any of it. That you don't let your son read that stuff.
Right, and that's
You shouldn't.
smart.
Because, I mean, for goodness sakes,
So-
if my parents wouldn't let me read this stuff as a kid. There's no way my parents would
That's
let me
very
read this
smart.
stuff. Because the language
you
is
don't let your son
awful.
read that
And
stuff.
I feel terrible. Probably worse than for everybody, for Joe Girard. And the funny thing about it is, if Joe Girard, and I want to remind you too that coaches pay attention to this stuff, and not just from Syracuse, coaches all over the country. Because I had coaches tell me that they've seen what people have written about Syracuse, and the same people that wrote nasty writing all positive things, and they said, I wish that I screenshot those messages from the beginning of the season and sent them like back to those people that are now like, oh, I love Buddy. Buddy's my favorite player because 3 months ago this is what they wrote. You know, it's like, just be kind. Learn how to be kind. And if you don't like a decision, you know, in the case of Syracuse, it's tough noogies. Unless you're Jim Boeheim, Adrian Autry, Jerry McNamara, Alan Griffin, or any one of those players, I mean, you have an opinion, but that doesn't change anything. You can only control what you can control, which is yourself. Your actions, your words, your thoughts. You can only control right here. This is it. Like, I can control me, you can control you. That's the truth. You can't control me, I can't control you. And so, I mean, it's got to be my annoying moment of the week because I don't like seeing hate in general. But, man, you know, like, if you call yourself a member of the fan base, but you got pitchforks and knives, you ain't a fan. Remember that. Fans don't hate. They might not agree. They may constructively criticize, but when you're personally attacking someone, number one, that's bad. When you do it on social media, you got problems. You got problems. Because you attack somebody on social media, that's forever, ever. And that means not only do you have hate in your heart, but you want people to see it. And it takes a certain type of nasty to want people to see the hate that they're given. Some people like to hide. You know, that's one of the issues we've seen in this world and in this country. That people that have hate in their hearts, they're now really comfortable sharing that hate. Before they had it, and that was wrong. But they didn't share it. Now they feel comfortable enough to share it. We're going in the wrong direction, if that's the case. So, stop giving the hate. You may not agree with everything, but please stop attacking people because you don't want them coming in your house saying you're a bad father, you're a bad... So stop giving it. And even if you can handle it, why would you want that? But I always liken somebody attacking somebody on social media to me going to your cubicle and just like all day long banging on the cubicle, shaking it, knocking over your plants, spilling your coffee, and telling you suck. Would you want me to do that 8 hours a day? Most of you with a logical mind would say no. So stop shaking these kids. And stop pouring coffee on their desk. And stop knocking over their plants. And stop telling them they suck. Because there's nobody on this planet that I think wants to be abused verbally or physically or whatever. So you may not like how this kid shoots. You may not like how this coach coaches. And you're entitled to your opinion. But we can all handle things a little bit more civilized, mature. And when you're a fan, you're a fan. My buddy Brandon can tell you that. He loved the Chiefs when they were 2-14. And he loved them Chiefs when they win the Super Bowl. And those fans got a new stadium after they had a horrible season. Because the city believed and they showed up even when they lost. That's how you get a new arena. When you're bad, they showed up. So they had the money to buy a new arena. If nobody showed up, they'd be in the same old arena. A fan loves you no matter what. How would you like it if your mom only loved you when you got a good report card? Your girlfriend only liked you when you got a raise. Your friends only were your friends when you were successful. But when you were in the trenches trying to get there, nobody wanted to talk to you. Could you imagine what life would be like every time you made a mistake, somebody slapped you in the face? So stop doing it to the kids. Stop doing it to the coaches. And I can tell you I don't feel the slaps you're trying to give to me because God protect this pretty face. I'll talk with you all after this fast break.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Kubal needs. Cafe Kubal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt. Proud to be hanging out here with you inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, and appreciate you so very much for being a part of the broadcast here where sports truly meets that thing called life. And you can get to Cafe Kubal by going to 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, as well as 208 North Townsend Street and 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse. And of course, you can head off to their location in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. So however you connect with them, make sure that you do that today. Head out to Cafe Kubal. And yes, there is snow on the ground. And with with snow being on the ground, folks, it brings the reality that, staying warm, but people always like their hot coffee in the morning. And, some people get iced coffee. My buddy Evan goes for that iced coffee even when it's like 12 degrees outside. So whether you want to warm up or chill down or whatever it may be, as Syracuse can't figure out its weather, the one thing you can figure out is where to go to grab that drink to nourish you, as well as some of their awesome treats and their sandwiches and everything they have at Cafe Kubal. So make sure that you head out there today to Cafe Kubal. Let them know that Wake Up Call sent you in their direction. So much appreciation to Cafe Kubal for all that they do. and inside of MonPawsPopcorn.com's What's Poppin'. Very excited here to be with you inside of this TGIF show. We just did the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly brought to you by Carvel DeWitt on 4322 East Genesee Street in DeWitt, New York. And it is now my opportunity to bring you this lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver segment that I appreciate so very much. I get to do with my co-host Juanita Ward, talking about positivity and bringing that to you every single week. So if you've had a rough week or a great week, we're about to make a rough week better and a great week even better itself, even if you think it's not possible. So Juanita here with me, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero, every single Friday right around 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So with that being said, let's bring her in. Juanita, how are we doing today?
Hey, Dan, how are you?
I'm doing well, and Juanita, I'm so happy to be here. I mean, it's felt like a very long week, and I don't know if it's felt that way for you. I'm not complaining. I don't want time to go by fast, but this week has definitely brought different challenges in my personal life, and I feel like we all go through different challenges, right? And we go through different things. You never know what somebody's facing, and just what you can say about facing challenges head on, facing life head on, and that whatever we go through, we do the best we can with it. Because, as people always say, and something that sticks with me is you never know what somebody else is going through. You never know. You walk by somebody in the supermarket, what type of day they're having. So it's important to always be kind.
Dan, I think it's very important. You wake up with a good attitude, you wake up with a good perspective, because that sets the tone for your day. That sets the tone for what you're going to do throughout that day. And I always wake up and I always say, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad, for the joy of the Lord is my strength. And I always tell God, hey, listen, God, this is your day. This is the day that you've made. Let me maneuver through this day the way that you want me to. And any situation that arises and comes up, help me to deal with that situation. Help me to be the best that I can be at understanding and communicating. Help me to not, tackle things the way that my normal emotions would. Help me to see things from your perspective. There's a lot going on in the world that we have to deal with. Every single day we are faced with different situations. What I tend to do and what I tend to believe is you have to fix your own, approach on what you think and how you think about, different situations in life. I just absolutely believe that when you speak words of positivity, those words affect everything in the atmosphere before you even get to the place that you're going. Because those words travel to the place that you're going, and they're already there waiting on you to come in and, walk into what you just spoke. And I just believe that whatever is in a person's heart is going to come out of their mouth. I believe whatever we have allowed to think every single day, whatever we have allowed ourselves to be a part of, if it's been someone else talking weird, that has not been talking positive, that's not been talking right, we are subject to that environment. And what I like to do is, obviously you can't help people of what they say, but you can help the people that you are around. That's going to affect your future, that's going to give life to your future, that's going to help you prosper. And it's just important. I heard someone say before, I could tell the person that you are by the people that you hang around, or I can tell the person that you are by, if you just give me your checkbook, I can look into the receipts and see what type of person you are. Well, that's pretty much true. Perspective is reality. Perception is reality. So we have to be all the time on our P's and Q's of knowing who we are and what we are, and speaking positivity so that we can effectively walk into what we want to see. We can't go around thinking that it's going to be one way. We have to speak what we want to see and then start believing that that's what we're going to have.
Yeah, like you said, you speak the words. You speak the words that precede you. You speak the words that eventually, you become what you think. You become what you speak. They say if you look in the mirror and you say things to yourself about who you are, you become that. And that's true. I think for me, I believe that. in parts of my life where I was hard on myself, I feel like that affected and you become the narrative. And then in other points where you lift yourself up, that becomes the narrative. So I think it's incredible. And we talked about keeping the outside noise outside last week, Juanita, and keeping with the spirit of noise, but good noise. Today's topic in Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. Our topic today is good noise, music, and how music has a place in our peace. You love music. I love music. You do videos of you going out there singing from time to time. I love to sing daily. If I don't sing during the day at some point, I don't feel like myself. So what can you say about from last week, the outside noise, keeping that outside, to this week, the good noise, letting that feed our soul?
I often say that, a merry heart, a dancing heart is always a happy heart. It's someone that's going to be, moving and jumping and dancing and feeling the beat and moving with the beat. And I don't care if the beat that you hear in your head is completely off and it makes your body look weird on the outside, or you don't really have rhythm. The thing is, if you hear the beat, move your feet. If you hear the beat and you like the beat, move. Why? Because that's joy. That's strength for you. And, I like Uptown Funk, the clean version. But I like Uptown Funk, okay? And, it's by Bruno Mars. And I know I like the words, like the beat makes me move, the beat, and I like to listen to it when I'm working out because it really does take my mind off of my workouts. It takes me into a place and it's and you can hear the words Uptown Funk was gonna funk you up, Uptown Funk you up, and it's like what? And so now I'm actually working out, right? And I'm hitting the weights and I'm moving, and the situation that I'm in with the weights is extremely hard. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need something. And then all of a sudden this song pops in and I'm like, oh, I got this. And I'm starting to feel the beat and I'm gaining energy from the beat. And I'm like, wow, it's amazing what music can do. It's amazing what beats can do. And then when I want to mellow down, I'll listen to Whitney Houston, I'll Always Love You. And I think it's so cool because the words in that song is so awesome. It's so awesome. And then when I really want to get a connection, when I really, really want to get a deep connection, I'll go and I'll listen to gospel. I'll listen to an artist called Smokey Norfolk, and it says the title of the song is "I Need You." And I'll listen to the song, and I'll really start to reel everything back in and realize that God is the center of everything that I've ever wanted. So I have to come under submission to understanding where I am right now and enjoying the moment and enjoying life as it is right now, because now I'm under the submission. And I love that song because it takes you to a place of surrender. It takes you to a place of gratitude. It takes you to a place of happiness. It takes you to a place of comfort. It takes you to a solid place where you know that you can lay everything that's going on with you down. And you're like, man, I love the song by Smokey Norfolk, I Need You. And you start to really hear the song and it does something to you. It makes you feel very appreciative and grateful, especially in this time that we're coming up to this holiday, as some call it, Easter.
Yeah.
It's definitely an awesome perspective to reflect. Songs allow you to really go back sometimes. Songs allow you to, move and get happy and joyful. But I'm telling you, man, there's nothing like listening to songs that's really going to move you and make you really feel that connection.
Yeah. And that's what's, beautiful about it is what music does. And like you said, and I love that you gave examples of what you listen to, like what kind of gets you going at different times, because I feel the same way, when it looks to, when I'm listening to different music, it's for different things. It's to give me, a different feel, a different vibe. It depends on what I'm going through. It depends on what's kind of going on in my mind at the time. And I find that last night when I was, setting up for the show and doing what I need to do. When I'm broadcasting or like when I'm going through different, I mean, it's really at any given time. Music's always a part of my life. And it's such a part of my life that, as soon as I hop in the car now, it's like I got to turn it on. And here's the thing. Every once in a while, no offense to traditional radio, I used to be on it, but I could not listen to traditional radio for 9 months. And yesterday I turned the radio on and it's the same old songs that they play over and over and over and over again. It's like ridiculous. And it's the same stuff they were playing in October, in July of last year. They're playing right now in April. And I'm just like, man, I can't rock with that. So I put on my music. As soon as I get in the car, I put it on. And it's different beats for different things. But I live in so many different worlds. So I go with how I'm feeling at the time and how I'm flowing. And I have the wherewithal to say, this is my emotion right now. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm feeling. Do I want to feed it or do I want to fight it with positivity? Like, am I feeling negative? So if I'm feeling down in the dumps, I'm not going to listen to like the mellow, the sad. I may not listen to country if I'm feeling down a little bit. Or like, if I'm not feeling romantic in that moment, I'm like, I don't know if I want to listen to that. So I'll switch gears and I'll listen to Drake. And sometimes I got to hear Drake and I got to hear G-Eazy and I got to hear Wayne and I got to hear Diddy and I got to hear Mace. And then there's other times where I want to hear Brooks and Dunn. And there's moments where, I want to get a little bit of Florida Georgia Line. Then I want to go to Boyz II Men. Then I want to go to New Edition. But the beauty of it all is that you can. And in the world we live in today, it's on demand, right? We can go to where we want to go. And my Pandora, shout out to them. They pretty much are doing a good job at like knowing me and feeling me out. And the weird thing about my Pandora is I listen to Chris Brown radio. And so Chris Brown's supposed to be, rap, hip hop, R&B, that type of feel to it. But they mix in country on my Chris Brown Pandora because it's almost like, Dan, we know you. We know you're going to flow in and out of this, so we're going to flow with you without you having to change the channel. But, I think it's a beautiful thing, music, Juanita, because it does bring us that peace in our sense of self that, sometimes we need that. And so when I was in the studio last night and I'm getting things ready and I'm doing all kind of like the behind the scenes stuff, I'm always listening to music. But I can vibe where I'm at. So when I go to turn on music and I'm on YouTube or whatever, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to listen to Lemon Pepper Freestyle right now. Like, I got to listen to something else. I gotta get some John Legend right now. But it's funny how, like, I've realized my emotions, I'm very in tune and in touch with myself, with my thoughts and with my emotions. So I try to guide and ease them. If I want to feed one, like I said, I'm going to feed it. And if I don't want to feed it, I'm not gonna. So you kind of just see what makes you feel good. And then there's songs where I'm out there walking, and when I hear that song, I just take off and run because it just gets me. And some of them I don't even necessarily would listen to when I'm sitting down, but when I'm up and walking, it makes me want to run. So I think, all different types of music have their place, and it just enriches my life. And I'm a firm believer that, if you listen close enough, God has a soundtrack to your life. You just got to be willing to hear it.
It's amazing because creativity is so important, and it's so important to have your own perspective of your creativity. What better way to have creativity is through your music. You have some people that write poetry that like to, when they're writing poetry, they like to have someone behind them that draws, in that poetic moment. When poetry is being spoken, some behind like to play, music, soft music, so that the poetry can have more feeling. When poetry is being spoken, some people don't like to have music at all, and they listen to the melodies of the way that the person is saying what they're saying, how they're saying the poetry, and the poetry becomes music. And it's like, wow, that's amazing. And then when everybody finishes with the poetry, you have this sensation of everybody snapping on beat. And it's like, oh my goodness, every single thing we do in life, we walk to a beat, we talk to a beat, we snap to a beat, we move to a beat. It's just about the feeling. Some people say, man, I don't like to listen to certain type of music. Well, at the end of the day, what really is appealing to your creativity? What really is appealing to your, What are you connected with? What's appealing to you? Listen to what you feel like. I happen to listen to a bunch of, a ton of Christian music because I love the inspiration of it. I love the motivation of it. I love the upbeat of it. I love how it makes me feel, how it takes me from one place to another place while I'm still here standing. But yet I'm in so many different places, and I feel so connected, and I feel so, comfort in those places as I'm listening to my Christian music, right? And then I can listen to, I can listen to another song, by Whitney Houston. I can listen to another song, by someone else, and it gives me an upbeat. And I'm like, man, it's all about your creativity and how you feel. It's all about the music that you want to listen to, the melodies and the songs that you want to hear. There's no judgment to each and every person. The reality of what we're saying is whatever it is that makes you move, whatever it is that gets you to that place of comfort, whatever it is that feeds who you are and what you like to listen to, if that's something that's going to uplift you and something that's going to motivate you and encourage you, we oftentimes like to say, oh no, don't listen to this, don't listen to that. Oh no, don't do that. At the end of the day, what is it that feeds you? What is it that touches you? The truth of the matter is, if you're not moving, if you're not feeling the beat, however you feel the beat, however you move, I'm not saying that we all move to the same beat and we have the same rhythm, but what I am saying, whatever your rhythm is and however you like to move, just move, because when you do, you get joy. When you do, you find peace. When you do, you're shaking things off. You're stepping out of the place that you're in right now when you're moving into another place. I'm telling you, it gives me nothing but joy when I put some headphone sets on my nieces and my nephews, and I turn it to Kids Bop. And I promise you, whatever it is that Kids Bop plays, yeah, they absolutely love. I had my goddaughters with me the other day, and they told me, they said, Nene, I want you to can you please turn it to this particular song? And I was like, okay. I think it was like Shake It Off on Kids Bop. I turned it to the song, and the song came on, and I looked through the rearview mirror, and I see my little niece, my little goddaughters, I see their heads back there just bobbing, right? And then before you knew it, I turned the music up, and I'm in the car driving down the road, and we're blasting the music. And people see me, my hair's like swaying to the side. I'm like, shake it off, ooh, ooh. And and I know people are looking in the car going, what in the, because they can't see the two in the back because they're so small. Yeah. And I got the music blasting, and it's Kid Bop. It's not even the original artist. It's a kid singing the song. I didn't care. You know why? Because that song they really liked, and it was touching them, and it was moving them, and it was giving them so much joy. And they were like, they had their little hands in the air, and you cannot tell them that they were not at a party. They were at a party, and I just joined into the party. It's amazing how music can make you feel. It's amazing what music can do to you. I choose to listen to the music that I say makes me, encourage, uplifts me. It's your choice on what you want to listen to that's going to get you moving from one place to another. And take those beats in life. Take those melodies in life. Take those comforts into life. Let them move you. Find some songs that take you to a place where you can find peace. Find some songs that take you to a place where you can have comfort. Find songs that take you to a place that's going to give you an upbeat. I say this all the time. Whatever you listen to, whatever you do, whatever you say, that becomes who you are.
Yeah.
Reality is perception. Perception is reality. You cannot allow yourself to get into a funk and not get out of it. If you get into the funk, let me tell you, my friends, go listen to Bruno Mars, because Uptown Funk will make you move. And then when you get into a place where you feel like you're in a slump, I Need You by Smokey Norfolk will really, really, really touch your spirit. And that's just examples. There are a slew of other songs out there that will really make you move. But one thing I do know is music has a melody. Music has a beat. Music will take you from one place to another place while you're still standing in one spot. Allow yourself to be free. Allow yourself to grow. Don't be so consumed to the situations. Don't be so consumed to what's going on right now around you. Understand this, and I was told this when I was a child. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Yeah. Don't allow fear right now to affect who you are and what you can do. Be a good person. Be impactful. Be a good person. Leave an imprint. Wake up every single day, not thinking, what can I get from you? Be a good person and wake up every day thinking, how can I help impact your life? How can I help leave an imprint in your life? How can I help you get to one place to the other place? Don't take who you are and what you're doing and the opportunity that God has given you. Don't take it for granted. Cherish every single moment. Don't allow the world to consume you. Don't allow situations in the world to stop you. Don't allow a title to make you feel like you're untouchable. Don't allow a title to make you feel like you're just the God over everything. Understand that just as quickly as you have your title, as quickly as you're trying to, oppose yourself on people will run away. Be careful of the people that you hang around. Most importantly, uplift, encourage, motivate, speak life, know who you are. And if music makes you feel the beat, whatever song you listen to gets you moving, however rhythm you like to have, whatever type of beat you like to move, you just shake it off like my goddaughters told me. Shake it off and keep moving. Yeah. Shake it off and keep going. Because guess what? You can have the best party of your life. You have to know who you are.
Perfect words. Spoken in truth. That's everything you said, Juanita. It makes sense. It makes perfect sense. You shake it off. There's a song by Mace that I love. It's called Breathe, Stretch, Shake. And for a retreat that I had, a search retreat at Marywood University, I was one of the leaders. And so I was asked to lead the morning workouts. And when I was leading these workouts, they said, you gotta come up with what you're going to do. And I kept saying to the sister, I go, yeah, what do I have to do? She's like, figure it out. I was like, yeah, but what's the parameters? She's like, I don't know. What are they? And I'm sitting here like, you're joking, right? Tell me what I got to do. She's like, figure it out. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I'm gonna do what I think is best, I guess. And I just came out, and I really like Mace, and I kept trying to find a song that made sense. So I used Breathe, Stretch, Shake. And because it was breathe, stretch, shake, let it go. And it was about waking up in the morning and just realizing, take a deep breath. Whatever's been bothering you, whatever's been getting you down, whatever's been holding you. Marywood University, I was one. Breathe, stretch, breathe, and because it was breathe, stretch, shake, for yourself, let it go. Right? And it was about waking up in the morning, shake it off, and let it go. So when you said shake it off, that's what I thought of. Take a deep breath, breathe, stretch, shake, whatever's been bothering you, whatever's been getting you down, whatever's been holding you. And it was so funny because I went off of what Mace did in the video, but then I had to create some other stuff
for yourself,
and then people started doing it. And some of the girls loved it, and then they did a YouTube video of it. That's what I thought of. I love that you did that. Every time I hear it, I get up and
and we just
I had no thought in my brain. I'm just like, all right, God,
I went off of
I like this song. I think it's a good idea. I'm going to try to make it work. It's the one that seems to make the most sense.
People started doing it, and some of the girls loved it, and then they did a YouTube video of it.
It moved people, and they remembered it.
I love that you did that. Every time I hear it, I get up and I
and
I had no
and then that's a
thought
reminder,
in my
and
brain. I'm just like, all right, God, I like this song. I think it's a good idea. I'm going to try to make it work. It's the one that seems to make the most sense.
Take a deep breath.
Let me see what I could do with this.
Stretch out
and
do something good for your body.
And they remembered
all
it,
tense,
and they used it.
Shake it off,
and
then
move on.
And then that's a reminder,
and it's still today for me.
So I mean, that's just stretch, it's good advice.
Shake
and
let it go.
It's amazing what music can do for you. I feel like myself when I sing. I feel like myself when it's in my life. When it's not, I don't feel okay. My guest that's coming on in just a little bit, Carvel DeWitt, OAR, she sent it to me. And there's a song by OAR I'd never heard before.
It's good advice.
I accidentally hit the button.
It's amazing what music can do for you. I feel like myself
and I was like, well, obviously, if I hit the song,
when it's in my
God
life.
wants
when
me
it's
to play
not, I don't feel
so
okay.
then I went through the song
to try and find
on
in just a little bit. Carvel DiCocco,
OAR,
she sent it to me.
And
then there was a song by OAR I'd never heard before.
I mean, I trust that.
I accidentally hit the button.
Sometimes I hit a button by accident, and it's a song I need to hear that maybe I've never even heard.
And I was like, well, obviously, if I hit
maybe
the
it's a song my grandfather used to
play
sing me, or maybe it's
a
a
song
that my mom sings to me, or maybe it's a song that I haven't heard in 20 years.
That just spoke to me.
So
and that's the part I use.
It's amazing what music
I
can
trust
do.
that. I trust that in
and
music.
in a world
Sometimes
where
I hit a button
the
by
outside
accident,
noise
it's a song
tries
I
to
need
be
to hear
so
that I
deafening,
maybe have never even
I always
heard
tell
before.
people, may your
Or maybe
inside
it's a song my
voice be
grandfather
stronger
used to
than the
sing to me, or
outside
maybe it's a
noise,
song that my mom
and drown
sings
it
to me, or
out.
maybe it's a
Let
song
that
that
inside
I
voice
haven't
be
heard in
loud
20
enough to
years.
help you get to where you need to go.
So
may it always
it's
believe in you and
amazing
be
what
good to you.
music can do.
And when
and
that
in a world where
inside
the
voice
outside
needs a little
noise
bit
tries
of
to
oomph,
be so deafening,
turn the
I always
radio
tell
on,
people,
find
may
your
your
favorite
inside
song,
voice be stronger than the outside
close your
noise,
eyes, lay back,
and drown it out. Let
take
that
a deep
inside
breath and
voice be
listen.
loud
Or
enough to help you
jam
get to
out
where
to
you
your
need
air
to go.
guitar,
May it
or
always
sing at the
believe in
top
you
of
and
your
be good
lungs
to
in your
you.
car. Whatever
And
does
when
it
that
for you,
inside
it
voice
never hurts
needs a little bit of
to
oomph,
sing a little bit more.
turn the radio
listen
on,
to a
find
little
your
bit
favorite
more
song,
music that really speaks
close
to
your
your
eyes,
soul.
lay back,
And in my true opinion,
take a
that's
deep
how
breath
angels
and
talk to
listen.
humans.
Or
so
jam
why
out
not
to your
listen
air
to the
guitar,
words of the angels,
or sing at the top of your
and spend
lungs
some
in
time
your
with
car.
it?
Whatever
We all
does it for you
can grow
it
from
never
music.
hurts to
And
sing a
it
little
is
bit more.
life-changing.
Listen to
That's
a little
why
bit more music
people all over
that
the
really
world
speaks to your
listen
soul.
to it, even if they
And
don't
in my
even
true
understand the
opinion,
language.
that's how angels talk to
There's
humans.
certain songs that
So
I don't know.
why
I
not
mean, I'm
listen to
Italian,
the
but I
words
don't
of the
know
angels
Italian. I know
and
Spanish
spend
pretty
some
well,
time
but
with
I don't
them?
know Italian.
We all
and there is similarities.
grow from
I've
music.
heard,
and
but I listen to
it is
Andrea Bocelli all the
life-changing.
time.
That's why people
And
all over
I've
the world
I've learned
listen
his
to it.
words,
Even if they don't
if I don't
understand the
necessarily know
language.
everything I'm saying. I've learned
There's
the
certain
words
songs that I
to
don't
sing
know. I
with
mean,
it.
I'm Italian, but I don't know
But,
Italian. I know Spanish
it
pretty
is-
well, but I don't know
There's
Italian.
something incredible. That's
And
why I
there
got
is
an old record
similarities.
player.
I've heard.
There's something
But I
incredible
listen to
about
Andrea Bocelli all the
turning
time.
that on and hearing the needle hit,
And
just hearing
I've
that
learned
way that
I've
it
learned
sounds
his
when it
words,
first
even if I don't
touches
necessarily know everything I'm saying.
that
I've
vinyl
learned the
record.
words to
And
sing
then all
with
of a
it.
sudden, Jam comes on
But,
by Michael Jackson
I mean, it
on
is.
his Dangerous album.
There's something incredible.
And
That's
I'm
why I
5
got an
years
old
old
record
again,
player.
running around my house.
There's something incredible
screaming
about
at the top of my lungs,
turning that on
dancing
and hearing
like
the needle
nobody's
hit,
watching,
and just
and even
hearing
if they are, I
that
don't
way
care.
that it sounds when it
So,
first touches.
when that inside
vinyl
voice
record.
gets really, really, really
And then
low,
all of a sudden,
and you
Jam
need
comes
something
on
to
by
crank
Michael
it up,
Jackson on his Dangerous
go find
album.
your favorite music,
And I'm 5 years old again,
and feed your
running
soul.
around my house,
and that voice will
screaming
get loud
at the top
again.
of my lungs, dancing.
Just remember,
like
just like your
nobody's
phone,
watching.
sometimes you
And
got to
even if they are, I
recharge your
don't care.
battery.
So,
And I think music is a great way
when
to
that
do that.
inside voice gets really, really, really low, and you need something to crank it up,
Most important.
go find your favorite
Hey,
music.
listen, if there's not anything
and
that
feed
you
your
learned
soul.
today from what we
And
said,
that voice will get loud
just
again.
know this.
Just remember, just like your phone, sometimes you got to recharge your battery.
And don't worry about
And I think
the
music is a
stress.
great way to
Don't
do
worry
that.
about anything. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Most important. It's a declaration. It's a decree. Remember to speak. I can. I will succeed. From over yourself. Just I know some people say you can. You will succeed. And yes, when you're talking to someone, that's the proper way to say it. But when you are talking to yourself, which is the most powerful thing that you have that you can do, you have to check yourself sometimes. You have to self-motivate, self-encourage. And the best way to do that is to believe what you want to do, to see the vision of where you want to go and continue to walk it out. But first, before you get there, you have to speak those words over yourself. I can, I will succeed. It's a declaration. It's a decree. Don't ever forget it. It's not about the I can. It's not about the succeed part. Seed tells you to go. It's all about the I will. I can, I will succeed. It's the middle. It's your willpower to get you going. It's your willpower to make you move. It's your willpower mentally to get you to the next level. How much further are you willing to go? How many levels are you willing to level up? It's all about you. Feel the beat, feel the move, and let's rock out.
That coming from Juanita Ward, my partner right here in lead, and somebody that I appreciate so much in life in general. Juanita, as always, I thank you for everything and appreciate you. You know I love you. I send you all the positivity in the world, and I hope that you are doing well. Hopefully you and I get to talk face-to-face at some point soon here, but I am so incredibly proud of everything you're doing in your life, and thank you so much for what we get to do here with Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. It is the acronym LEAD, and it is here with you every Friday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, proudly brought to you by Chick-fil-A in Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, New York. With that being said, Miss Juanita, please have yourself a fantastic, a safe, a healthy, and a very happy Holy Week. And happy Holy Thursday from yesterday, happy Good Friday, Holy Saturday, and many blessings as always on Easter, which is a day that you and I remember where we came from in case we need a little pick-me-up. It's definitely a reminder. So not just a holiday and not just a time for candy, but a time to really appreciate the fact that dying you destroyed our death, rising you restored our life. I appreciate you, Juanita.
Awesome, Dan. Happy Easter, everyone.
Take care. That coming from Juanita Ward here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. We'll take a step aside for a fast break very quickly here to bring you our top dog of the week, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare. Canine Camp Dog. Oh my goodness. You would think I speak for a living. Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground. I tried to say both at the same time, so I said I was about to say dog ground, I think. Just trying to make the most of my time, bring it all together. Isn't that what kids do nowadays? Isn't that what the new generation is doing? It's just shortening all the words and putting it all together. So I love when I say that's what the kids are doing. It makes me sound like I'm 100 years old, and I am a very young man living in this beautiful life. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, we'll give you the top dog of the week. Carly DiCocco coming up right after that for the first time ever. She will join us on the show for an awesome conversation inside of these beautiful, wonderful, and here for you Cafe Kubal studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbeeville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Rd in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacted the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butt our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, as well as on Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Plenty of ways to listen and to watch every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time inside of the Cafe Kubal studios with locations throughout Syracuse on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, and of course their location in Manlius, their giant behemoth of a building that is right there when all of the roads converge in Manlius at that brown striped building on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. Make sure you head out to Cafe Cubal today. I intend to, because I need something to warm me up this morning as there's snow on the ground in April. And it's not April Fool's because it's April 2nd and it's still here. And it snowed last night again. I didn't think it was going to snow again, but it snowed again. So here we are. So with that being said, it's time to get into our top dog of the week that we do in the top of the second hour here on Fridays. And so the top dog of the week proudly brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And I'll need my dog's help on this one. Shout out to Lily. The top dog of the week for this week. I would have to say my top dog of the week for this week, it's tough. You know, I try to think of a lot of different, sometimes it's really, really hard to choose who your top dog can be. But I'm going to say the top dog of the week this week is the friend or friends that you can call at any time that answer your phone, answer the phone call, they call you right back, or they text you. If they can't answer the phone, then they text you what's going on, and they'll talk to you on text, and then they'll call you later. They call you throughout the day. They think of you. You don't have to just call them. Those true friends, right? Those good friends. The people that will call you, like I said, they'll call you. You don't have to just call them. It's a two-way street. They'll text you. They'll check on you. They'll see how you're doing. They show you that they're thinking about you. And whenever you need them, they're there. And if they can't be there right in that second, they'll still text you and say, I'm here, and I'll call you in a half an hour, or I'll call you in an hour, or whatever it may be, or I'll call you tomorrow. Those friends, the real ones, the ones that you don't have to ever wonder, can you count on them? So my top dogs of the week this week, the Rosses, the Robs, the Matts, the Evans of the world, the Brandons, thank you. When you need them, they're there. When you don't think you need them, they're there. So, to me, it's a very simple thing. The top dog of the week, think about it today. I want you to really take some time. Who's that friend that you could call right now and they'd answer the phone? Who's somebody you could text that would text you right back? Somebody that would make no excuses to make you a part of their day. Somebody who you just genuinely love being around. Could be your mom, could be your dad, because they could be your friends too, which I know some people don't think that. Could be somebody from high school, somebody from college, somebody from down the road you used to play with growing up as a kid. Could be a sibling. Could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, or your wife. I hope it is, in that case, or your fiance. Could be your kids. Could be your grandparents. Who does it for you? Who gives you that? You know, and it's funny that I just said that, and I get a message from Matt that says, let's get it today. He sends me a message every single day of inspiration. And I literally said his name, and I said, the friends that are always there for you, that think about you, that you don't always have to text because they text you too. And he texted me during all of this. So, it's a sign right there. It's proof in the pudding. I think that's a perfect way to end the segment. That the real ones are the real ones and they show up. And here's Matt showing up when I'm talking about it here on the show, and I don't even know what he's doing right now. So, shout out to the real friends, the people that we can count on. The dogs and the cats and the birds we can count on. Friends come in all different shapes and sizes, and they're beautiful. So, I hope you surround yourself with good people, and I hope you treat them the way that you want to be treated. And I hope you're good to them, and I hope you're good to yourself. Because fantastic friends, there's nothing like them. There's no substitute. And just when you think your heart can't get any bigger to fit another slice in, you find a way to. And sometimes they surprise you. Sometimes they're not always who you think they're going to be. So be open to friendship. Be appreciative of it. and value the fact that you can call somebody up and tell them about something awesome that happened in your day, or you can call somebody up to complain. If you have somebody that, win, lose, or draw, will listen to your life, listen to your story, you got a real one. And appreciate them. Just like I appreciate Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding for what they do for our furry loving friends. Taking care of our dogs and being an extension of our family. If not for people like Chad and Lorraine and Heather and company, I wouldn't feel good leaving Lily anywhere or telling you to bring your dog anywhere. But because they give her love and they send her back to me just as good, if not better than she was before, it's why I trust them. So, friendship goes a long way. And they're included in that. Shout out to Lorraine and the crew. We'll take a step aside on Wake Up Call. When we come back, Carly DiCocco will be joining us inside of the Cafe Kubal studios right after this.
Avicoli's Restaurant, located right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road, is proud to be your local neighbor, growing with you for over 20 years. We're open 7 days a week for lunch, dinner, and drinks. For takeout, delivery, or catering, call us at 315-622-5100. When you order online and use our promo code AVS10, you will save 10% on your online purchase at myavicolis.com. And make sure to join us monthly for our live on-site broadcasts centered around Liverpool athletics. Avicoli's, your local, trusted neighbor right at the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road.
Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Kampground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Kampground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Kampground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Kampground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Kampground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Kampground.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on wakeupcalldt.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt, where you're listening. You are watching on Facebook Live on facebook.com/livenowdt, and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. So however you're tuning into the show, we appreciate you being here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. And as you know, monpazpopcorn.com lets you know what's coming up on every broadcast. So inside of monpazpopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we brought you the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, and went from there to Lead with Juanita Ward, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, brought to you by Chick-fil-A Cicero, and just honored the true friends, and in perfect timing, as I just feel, I call them God incidences, perfect timing, my buddy Matt sends me that positive, uplifting message as I'm talking about the truest of friends, and that brought to you by the top dog of the week coming from Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. So that brings us to our final piece of today's show, and the first time that I ever get to welcome her to the broadcast, and that is Carly DiCocco here with us, has spent a lot of time in the AAU world as well as helping out West Genesee. So in that basketball world has done a lot of positive work and has continued on here. There's a lot of things we could talk about today. The fact that she stood in for Daisy Ridley for a trio of Star Wars movies, you know, and the amount of money she probably made off of that. There's got to be a mansion somewhere for Carly. So there's a lot of stuff to get into here. Let's bring her in. Carly, how you doing today?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing well. So tell me, do you get any credit from the Daisy Ridley movies, or have they yet to give you any royalty money?
I'm still waiting for that first paycheck from them, but I'm confident it'll come someday.
I think it should. I mean, it definitely should find its way out there. But all joking aside, I mean, you have been in this basketball world for a long time. You've gotten to do some interesting things in the world, and we're going to unpack a lot of different pieces today. But what made you kind of fall in love with the sport of basketball? I mean, it's been near and dear to my heart. Really picked up a basketball when I was 3 years old. So where did it all start for you?
I've always just been a true athlete. I was a 3-sport athlete growing up: basketball, soccer, and lacrosse. I'm a West Jenny grad, so obviously lacrosse is kind of their sport, and it's hammered into your brain at a young age. So I think I started playing well before kindergarten. And I was actually better at lacrosse, if we're being honest. I was a better lacrosse player than I was a basketball player, but I enjoyed the sport of basketball more. And if there's any other West Jenny grads listening, you know that at West Tennessee Middle School, you start with Coach Terry Sparks, and that's where my love for the game really, really grew. But I ended up quitting the other sports in high school, and I stuck with basketball because it really was the one I was most passionate about.
So for you, being a tri-sport athlete originally with lacrosse and soccer and basketball, how did you balance it all? And like you said, you ultimately chose basketball, but is there still a love and a passion for the other two? Will you still go out and kick a ball around from time to time? I mean, where do those live in your life right now?
I mean, the last time I kicked a soccer ball, I couldn't tell you, but lacrosse is something I still enjoy. I mean, I watch a lot of collegiate games still, but I don't have a stick anymore. But if I ever get my hands on one, I do, play around.
So the basketball side of things for you, ultimately choosing that, like you said, coming from Jenny, there's so much conversation about the lacrosse world, and I remember coming into the West Jenny community 4 years ago and doing a West Jenny show that we started at the Wildcat Sports Pub that we still get to do every single month, and that's what I heard coming in. I got to spend time with Mike Masser, and it was lacrosse. It was girls and boys lacrosse just right there at the forefront. And I remember going to visit my buddy James growing up as a kid, and I had to pass West Jenny to get to him. And back then, that's all we knew. So, to switch to basketball for you, was it a tough switch? Was it a strange world, or was it ultimately, I mean, like you said, you're growing up with lacrosse all around you. What was it like to say, you know what, I respect it, but this is where I want to go?
I mean, it was a long time ago now, but I don't remember it being a difficult decision. It was, I mean, lacrosse just took up so much of your time. Every season, whether you were playing games or not, you had things to do. And I also worked a part-time job. So for me, it was about, a school work-life balance. And basketball was just the one that I looked forward to practice. I never dreaded having practice. I never dreaded, early mornings or the long days, and that was what made my decision so easy.
And you got to go back to West Jenny, and you got to work with their girls basketball team, and Stafford Spreeder, somebody who I respect and appreciate, when you got to go back there. And it's kind of funny and ironic how this morning's going and how life goes in general, that I just spoke to the Twins' mom yesterday, and I think it was yesterday or the day before, that we had a little conversation, message back and forth, and you got to work with the Twins. I got to interview them and be around them. I am so blown away by, Maddie and Kenzie and just what they did. I mean, I remember, when I first started that West Jenny show at the Wildcat, I sat with them. And so they were kind of with me through the whole thing, and they became like a mainstay and just like a normalcy for me. So when they graduated, it was very strange for me to be like, oh, like now I can't, sit with them and have, who I'm used to having, because they just became such a normal part of my day when it came to West Genesee athletics. What was it like to work with the Twins and to work with West Genesee?
Well, firstly, most athletes don't get to go back and coach at their alma mater. And for me, that was really special, especially because when I played at West Genesee, basketball wasn't a big thing. We had Alyssa Sutherland, who went D1, but we seldom made sectionals. And if we did, we never made it past the first round. And so that was like a pipe dream for us. And then going back as a coach and to have such a phenomenal program and like extremely talented girls, that was something so new to me. And the community that they have of the families of the players was just something that wasn't there, 12 years ago when I was in high school. And so it was a really incredible experience. And those girls are all amazing. And for me to be an assistant coach and in my first year as an assistant coach in high school to go as far as they did is something that's, I'll always remember that. But the girls especially were my favorite part. I'm more of a people coach. I'd say, I coached a club basketball team at Lemoyne, and that was always my thing. And while I was teaching skills and teaching the game of basketball, my biggest thing for me was to be a safe space for those girls, and to be a mentor, to be someone that they can come to, outside of practice, outside of game, outside of those school hours, and be able to trust me and tell me anything.
And like you said, being a people coach and building those relationships, I can respect that and I can appreciate that, because I think, in anywhere in life, it's about the relationships. It's about what you build, because, getting your message across, it's a lot easier. People work with people that they like working with, that they like being around. So, obviously your relationship building is going to go far beyond just having them there that season. So what can you say about what that did for you? Because you're trying to help these young women, but how did they help you? How did they kind of make an imprint on your life?
There's a couple of those girls I still talk to often. And for me, I played basketball at OCC, and my assistant coach, Brittany Almonte, now Brittany Gatto, she is now one of my best friends. I talk to her every single day. And she did a lot for me, and I depended on her a lot in my personal life, and I knew that I wanted to provide that to these girls. And so there's a couple players like Meredith James. She's at Clarkson now. She played basketball. She also made their collegiate lacrosse team. She's one of those players that I feel like will be in my life forever. I really enjoy speaking to her, and we've created a more familial friendship. And, if I can be that person for those girls like Brittany was for me, that's extremely fulfilling for me in life.
And playing over at OCC and having that experience, getting to continue that on, what did that do for you? Your love for basketball and then going through West Jenny and then being able to go to OCC, I think it's one of the unsung places in our community, and there's so much good that's come out of there. I think the work of Mike Wheeler on the women's side, and then Dave Paziak and from him, Eric Cerrone, to go from there. There's a lot that's come out of OCC. Obviously, Chuck Wilbur and everything that he's done with the sport of lacrosse. There's coaches from every different sport that I really think, OCC has made its mark in our community, and I don't think it's given enough credit where credit is truly due. So what did you take from your time there, and what did it mean to you, and how did it improve you as a player? How did it improve you as a person as you step forward?
I always said if OCC were a 4-year school, I would have stayed. And, when you're in high school, OCC in the area, if you're from the Syracuse area, you think that OCC is like the 13th grade, and like you haven't made it if you went to OCC. And I think that there's just like a bad vibe that gives off for people. And I can't stress enough how important those 2 years were in my life. It allowed me to figure out what I wanted to do academically. It let me just get like my core classes out of the way so that when I transferred to Lemoyne, I could focus solely on my major. I didn't have any of the fluffy classes that I had to take because I already got those finished at OCC. And then as an athlete, I think it's a great stepping stone for a lot of people. Especially like the lacrosse teams. I think of the men's lacrosse team in general, their team is massive. They just always have so many players. But for kids like that, who maybe don't have the grades that they need, but they have the talent, it's a great stepping stone. A lot of those kids go D1 after, so I just think it's great in terms of A, cost, B, academics, and C, athletics, to be able to hone in on your skills and get to where you need to be to get to next level.
And you brought it up, if that was a 4-year school and just what that could be. And I very, very close. One of my friends that passed away that I love deeply to this day, and always send up a hi to him and hope he's, doing well up in heaven, is Rob Edson. And when he came over to OCC, we sat and we talked about his vision. We talked about what he wanted. And I felt like under him, that new logo was coming. Under him, that 4-year push was coming. There was so many things that he was building, and he really, really believed in it. And I had respect for OCC before him, but with him, it just took on a different level. And I thought that, obviously him passing away, selfishly, I was like, I'm not going to get those hugs, and I'm not going to get that time. I mean, he would always get up after a meeting with me, and he would go, give me a hug. And he would just embrace you and just be there for you, and he would tell you, like, I'm always here. And one of those people that I think OCC would have he would have been a lifeblood of anywhere he went. And so, what can you say about Rob? I know you had some time that you worked with Sue and whatnot, but, Rob has been an incredible part of our community, and I speak in a present tense because I think that the lives that he touched will touch other lives, and Rob's work will continue through the people that he cared about.
I know you can't see me. I'm a little teary-eyed over here, but I can say without a doubt that Rob Edson changed my life. I was there that first year that he was there, and the girls that I played with, who are my best friends now, my roommates and teammates, all of us were extremely close with him. And he made such a point to connect with every single student athlete at that school. And I tore my meniscus the day before our first game of the season, or a week before, I don't remember. And I was doing rehabilitation for my knee with the trainer, Chris Downey, at the time there. And I was in the gym, and I was struggling, and I was crying, I remember. And Rob Edson came in, and he said, I know you're not where you want to be, but think about how far you've come. And no joke, I think about that every single day. And I apply that lesson to so many things in my life, whether it's my career or, my fitness level or my goals, anything that I'm doing. If I find myself comparing myself to other people, or feeling like I haven't made enough progress, or feeling like I should be doing better, I should be doing more, I think about that day in the gym with Rob Edson, and I think about those words that he said. And I agree that he made OCC a special place for the time that he was there, and I'm super thankful that I was able to be an athlete there when he was there, because it brought Sue and Thomas and Tracy into my life.
Yeah, he will continue to be a game changer in my life. Mm-hmm. And there were days where I went and I talked to him in his office that, those conversations were at some of the most stressful, what I thought were the most stressful moments in my life. In the moment we think like, oh my God, I can't get through this. I can't do this. And he, similarly to like what you said, he would just look at me and go, God, you're amazing. You are incredible. And just think, if you just focused on your voice, if you just focused on your faith, your belief in God, and you just forgot what everybody said, why do these people matter? I love you. You love you. And there's just, I'll never forget, I think the last hug I got from him, sitting in his office, and I came in and he could spend, I don't even know, maybe half an hour to an hour with me that day. And we spent 2 hours, the sun's going down, and he's like, all right, I got to go, you got to go. Like, we could talk all night. And he just gave me a big hug. And, he would just whisper things to you. And he just was that human being that you could never say thank you enough to. And, he did. He will forever change my life for the same reason that he changed yours, that no matter what you thought of yourself, he always thought the best of you. Yes, and he could always 100%. See your spirit. And when you thought you were down and you were beaten and it was dark and you could find no light, he would always grab a candle and go, here, let me help you get out of this.
Yep, that is definitely the man that Rob was.
So before we both cry on the show, Carly, Let's move forward. But speaking of Sue, you got to spend days in the AAU world, and it gets an unfair shake about what it is and what it does to kids. I've seen incredible people inside of AAU, and then I hear stories about people just blasting the AAU for killing the game. So, I mean, you getting to be a part of AAU ball, what can you tell me about what it's supposed to be and what you tried to make it?
Oh, man, I can't say. Maybe it's men's basketball that people feel like it's killing the game. I did see some Twitter rants in the last couple of weeks.
You saw something negative on Twitter, really?
Yeah, never happens. But, I think for the sport of women's basketball, it's clear now. You can tell when you're, watching a game who's played AAU and who hasn't. To me, it's very clear when you're watching a high school game. You can see of the 10 girls on the court, who's got that edge and who's got that grittiness and that just like sheer competitiveness that comes from playing AAU. I think it's the style is a little bit different. It's faster and it's more aggressive, and I think it just pushes you outside of your comfort zone to play, better girls really than you would maybe see in your high school schedule. So I think for the sport of women's basketball, it's super important. And the girls that I coach in AAU, so many of them are now playing college ball, and I think that's a big difference maker for those kids.
And it is. I mean, like you said, it's just different. It provides another element to it. Where do you feel like it sits amongst everything? I mean, do you think it's a must? I mean, I know you said you can tell who plays it and who doesn't. Where, in the evolution of basketball, where does AAU sit?
I think it's a must. I never played because when I was in, middle school, early high school, and it's still expensive, but it wasn't as popular then. There weren't as many teams. There was like the Unity Wildcats and maybe one other Syracuse team, but it wasn't as popular back then. And so I feel like only the elite really played in that. But now I feel like it's for everybody. I mean, any skill level that you have, I feel like you're welcome to join a team and it helps you get better. But I think it's a must. If that's your sole sport, especially, or maybe you're a two-sport athlete, you've got the time to do it. I don't see why any middle school to high school player wouldn't want to find themselves on a team.
That coming from Carly DiCocco here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios this morning. Carly, looking at, we've spoken on West Genesee and AAU as well as OCC and all of that you've gotten to do in your career. But being a woman in society, we know that there's been inequality, and it's happened in sports. It happens outside of sports. It's crazy to me when I hear this statement, because I have heard this within the last couple of years, where somebody said, well, I watch basketball, but not women's basketball. And I thought to myself, but if you're a fan of it, then aren't you a fan of it? And it was this notion of like, well, I love basketball, but not that kind. And I was like, but it's you can't say you love basketball then. So bring me into that, because this is a discussion that needs to be had. And being a woman who played as a young girl and then came up as an adolescent and then went into her adult life, and you've been in the coaching world, you've seen so many angles of basketball. Why do people feel so comfortable saying, I like basketball, just not women's basketball?
I mean, that's a deep-rooted issue, and I think that there is a difference between men's and women's basketball, just in the style of play. And I noticed this a lot watching the Syracuse men's NCAA run, where men focus more on their athleticism and their size, and women are fundamentally better basketball players. They have to rely on the fundamentals of the sport. So one comparison you could take is watching the Syracuse games in the last couple weeks, how horrible they are at setting screens. Just the Syracuse men specifically, bad. They set a screen on an area instead of on a body, but they rely on their size and, their strength. Whereas, as a women's coach, if my players didn't set screens, they knew they would be on the bench, because you don't ever set a screen on a space. And anyone that's played for me knows that. I feel very strongly about that. You set a screen on a body. And I feel like that's the difference. And if you're watching men's basketball, like, you like the diving on the floor for the ball. You love the fight under the basket. But for women's basketball, there's more boxing out. There's more setting screens. There's more, like, just fundamentals of the sport. And so I feel like that's what's different. And maybe that's why people who say they like basketball, like, not women's basketball, I think they can't appreciate the way that women play the sport.
You know, and you and I talked about this. We actually sent messages back and forth about it during the game that, you know, there weren't being actual screens set. It was, like you said, it was setting a space, but not actually going up against a body, and it was working not at all. And so I saw your passion about it during the game, because I too have a passion for this, because I played growing up as well, and playing from like when I was 7 on. If I set a screen, I set a screen. If I didn't do it correctly, then I went to the bench. So I can definitely, I mean, because I can't tell you how many times I'll watch a game and I'll say to myself, why don't you just screen and roll? Why can't you just pick and roll? This is easy stuff. Or you want this guy to get a shot. If you want him to get a clean shot, set a screen for him. And if it doesn't work the one time you do it in 40 minutes, they never do it again. I mean, we used to do a thing where if we were trying to get somebody open, we'd set 3 screens. We just keep setting them until somebody could bounce off of us. And it's like, you know, we'll set them on this side. We'll set them on the other side. Well, wait a second, set it again. Like, if you're trying to get somebody open, you don't try one time. You try multiple times. And you put a body on a body and let them know that you're there. Let them feel you. Let them sense you, so that there is something to get through or to get around. So I feel like I'm talking about fundamental normal basketball, yet I'm seeing that people don't do it, and it's very frustrating. So you're not alone when you watch the games, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it might be a little much, but I used to say to my girls, like, you should want to knock the wind out of the other girl. Like, you should want that girl to not realize that your screen is coming, and you set such a good screen that she loses her breath. And I feel very strongly about screens. That's it.
Yeah, I could tell that you're holding back your passion for it this morning, but it is. I mean, you want to shock them. You want to set that screen on that right shoulder, and then let your player go left. And when that person turns, you want them to just hit you so hard and like feel like they just ran into like a bird going into a glass, you know, a bird trying to fly into a house, not seeing the glass door. Like, you want that, but it's so frustrating. I get it. What were you gonna say?
No, I do think that the tide is turning. I think that women's basketball is more popular now than it's ever been. I think thanks in part to social media. I mean, when you have these influencers like Paige and Hannah and Jada Williams, and with accounts like Overtime Women's Basketball run by Chloe, like, I think the tide is turning for women's basketball. I think more men are watching it, and more even women that maybe didn't watch it before. I think more people are watching the sport of basketball, and I think social media is definitely helping that. So I think we're headed in the right direction. Not quite there yet, but
getting there.
Getting
How
there.
do you respond to I don't watch it till the end because it's boring and UConn always makes it and they always win, and so I'll just wait until UConn makes the championship game. How do you respond to that argument of people saying, you know, it's just boring to see, which, you know, people also said that about the San Antonio Spurs. They called them one of the most boring teams in basketball history. And I was like, well, if being boring means I'm going to a championship every year, I'll be boring all the time. So what is the response to, I don't watch the women's tournament until the end because I know who's going to make it?
I think that's a little unfair. I think especially now, there's so many talented teams out there that are fun to watch. I mean, how can you be from Syracuse and not watch the Syracuse women's team? Especially with Tiana and all that she's done for the sport in the last couple of years. That blows my mind. But I just think it's people's unwillingness to try to show support. I don't know what the answer is. I mean, we had a phenomenal, athlete here, and even with all of the struggles that Tiana had, like that should have been the Cinderella story that people wanted to watch throughout the season. Yeah. And if that's not enough for them, I'm not sure what will be.
You know, and to see, you know, the incredible, I want to talk about Tiana for a second because she, I mean, for anybody to go up against cancer in and of itself is, it's something that, I mean, in this past year too, it's something that was on my mind. I'm like, you know, cancer didn't take a break during Corona, and nothing did. And when it comes to stuff like that, and so, you know, for Tiana to go through everything that she went through, and then she tries to come back to basketball and the world totally changes. I mean, this woman has seen so much at such a young age, yet when you talk to her, she's so kind and she's so humble and she's so soft-spoken and she's sweet. And you're sitting here like, how are you so okay? And I think it just, you know, shows the strength that she has and the support system that she has and the faith in herself, the belief that she has. I mean, Tiana, like you said, if you're not watching because of Tiana, I mean, what are you doing? But she's such an incredible story in any walk of life. And, you know, I feel like this is just the beginning for her. I feel like Tiana's going to show up all over the world in different ways, and I'm really, really excited to see where she takes herself in and out of basketball because I feel like she's going to be an inspiration to so many people.
I agree.
What do you think about Tiana's story?
I mean, I feel like cancer is no stranger for so many people. I mean, myself, my mom is a 2-time breast cancer survivor, and I lost my dad to cancer. So I feel like for so many people, cancer has affected them in some way. They know someone who's beaten it or maybe lost their battle to it, or they've had it themselves. And I feel like for Tiana to be that age, I mean, she's years younger than I am, to have the poise and, you know, the attitude that she had about it is just something incredible. And that speaks a lot to her character and to the program of Syracuse basketball. I mean, their team was obviously there for her throughout every step of the way. She had an incredible support system, and I think that really helped, you know, fuel her along the way. But I do think that she'll go on to not only be an incredible basketball player nationally and professionally, but I do know that she plans to be a spokesperson and to be a mentor for others who may be battling cancer at young ages as well.
Carly, I mean, first and foremost, I'm sorry about your dad and what everything that your mom has been through. I'm sure has been very trying, to say the least. What can you say about, you know, seeing what your mother and father, you know, have done? I mean, what can you say will always kind of last with you with your father? And because that's way too young to have a dad pass. I don't really even have words. I mean, it's kind of rendered me speechless, and so I'm sorry to hear that. But how does he live on in your life, and what does your mother's fight show you as well?
Yeah, it was actually a little crazy. The first time my mom had it, I was young. I was in elementary school. And the second time, my parents were diagnosed a week apart. It was like a bad Hallmark movie. So my parents had cancer at the same time. And it showed me a lot of things. I mean, my mom was really selfless. My dad's battle was worse, and my mom really tabled hers. And she knew that she had to be a mom to us and to help support. I have 2 siblings to help support, you know, her 3 kids as they watched their father walk, you know, towards the end of his life. And I was a daddy's girl, so that's, you know, that was tough for me. But I think I grew a lot. You know, I'm 28, but at the time I was in my early 20s, and I grew a lot. I was the one taking, you know, my dad to chemo, or I took my mom to chemo, and I think it changed me as a person and made me respect life in different ways. And my family grew a lot closer for it. My siblings are my best friends now, and, you know, to bring it back to basketball, when OCC had their first alumni game, my dad was my biggest fan, so he was always at every one of my games. He didn't know anything about sports, I can tell you that much. For as long as I was an athlete, he would come and he would cheer when the fans around him were cheering. But after the game, it's not like he was ever like, oh man, you should have tried this move there, or you should have tried going back door there. Like, my dad didn't understand the game in that way. But we had our first alumni game, and I looked up, and my sister was in the stands, and I didn't know she was coming, but she said, I know Dad would have been here, and so I came here for that reason. And so I find ways every day to share stories about my dad, and I think that's one thing some people struggle with. For me, I lost my dad, and I love to talk about him every day, and that's just how I've handled grief, and for others it may be different. But yeah, I find ways every single day to talk about my dad or to do things that remind me of him. So.
And I'm all about giving a shout out. So what was your dad's name?
Brad.
So when you say that every day you try to keep your father, Brad, alive, and do things that he would do, or just talk about him and whatnot, what are some of your favorite dad moments that are like those, like the greatest hits, so to speak, the things you can in a way go back to when you need it? Because like my grandfathers both passed away same year when I was 6, and
wow.
It was crazy back in 1992, just both gone. One on the day I was supposed to be born, 7 years before, on October 14th, so he died a week before my birthday. And then my other grandfather passed away in February of that year, and then we had like 2 other family members pass away in 1992. So 1992, there's so much music and movies and all the stuff I love about the year that I never knew happened in 1992, because I know only 2 things in that year. My grandfather passed and my other grandfather passed away. But I keep them alive every day. And now, I'm 35 now, and 29 years later, I still think about them and see their faces at least once a day. Somebody asked me my favorite memories with them. I can, tell you like things clear as day from when I was like 6 years old or whatever it is, 4 or 5. So I'd love to hear some of the stuff that keeps Brad alive for you.
So my dad loved karaoke.
Okay.
And we used to do that. There was a place in Solvay, it was called Bosco's. And we used to have friends that were karaoke DJs, MCs, and they would do karaoke on Friday nights. And for years, we did this every weekend, and that was just something we did together as a family. And my dad loved to sing, and even as a kid, he would just sing around the house, and he had this beautiful, deep voice. And so, if I feel like I want to be closer to him, I can just throw on some Neil Diamond or the Beatles or Tenacious D. He loved them. And so, if I'm driving in the car and a specific song comes on, sometimes that'll get me a little teary-eyed. And then another go-to for my family for probably 4 years, maybe, we had donuts together every single Sunday. That was our thing. We would grab Lincourt donuts, a bunch of headlights, and then a bunch of other randoms, and we would have donuts together. And even my dad spent 6 or 7 weeks in the hospital towards the end of his life, and we would have donuts there. And then that was actually the last thing I did with my dad, was we had donuts, and he passed away that night in his sleep. And so donuts is like our thing. Like when our family gets together, we grab a box of Lincourt and we reminisce and we enjoy some sugary treats. But it's just stuff like that. And just in ways that I live my life, my dad always said, choose your attitude. And so when I'm having a bad day, it's one of those, like, something bad that happens in your day. It's 5 seconds. It's not the whole day. And so my dad would always say, choose your attitude. And so I try to remember that, as I'm going through my work week and, something happens, I just have to remind myself what my dad would tell me. And there was just a lot of lessons like that he always dropped on us that I try to weave into the way that I live my life.
Speaking here with Carly DiCocco here on Wake Up Call inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, in and out of sports, as you know, Wake Up Call where sports meets life. Your dad he will always be an extremely smart person because you said Lincourt. And I legitimately just had this conversation this week because my grandmother called her G-Mama, my mom's mom. She lived to be just shy of 101. And she was right down the road from Lincourt Bakery. And that's all we ever got. And I tell people all the time there's no better bakery than Lincourt Bakery. I could scour the earth. I could be in Italy. I could be in France. I don't care. Like, I will crawl to Link. If a zombie attack happens, I will take all the donuts from Lincourt Bakery and protect them, and and then go about my life. But nobody knows what a Kigley is unless you know Lincourt Bakery, and the fact that Carly, I mean, I could tell you, I don't know where you're faith-wise, where you're at and whatnot, but I believe in God. I believe we crossed paths if for no other reason than I could say Kigley and someone knows outside of my family what I mean. Because if you say, I mean, and you must know this, if you say Kigley to anybody, they're like, what? Like an eclair? No, not an eclair. It's a long donut. It's got nothing in it. It's got chocolate or vanilla on the top. Yep. And that's it. And that was my grandmother's favorite, and she loved her Half Moons, and I love the headlight that they have there, their chocolate chip cookie. Favorite. The headlight there, right? And the coconut one, the old-fashioned chocolate chip. There's nothing like Lincourt Bakery, and I will protect that thing with every fiber. I hope, and when God comes back, if this whole earth gets scorched, that's the last thing that gets taken out. Because,
Lincourt is elite, and we have this conversation at my office sometimes. In fact, we had a donut tasting contest last year, and we were blindfolded, but I knew in my heart the second I bit into a Lincourt donut, I knew exactly which one it was. The other ones tasted like gasoline. This one was like heaven.
But it's so true. I got to tell you right now, I hope that your dad just high-fived my G-Mama up in heaven right now. I hope he was like, lady, you know donuts. Because, yes. That is all Kigley's and now I'm sitting here going, now I got to go today.
I know.
And they always had, the best... And the thing about their jelly donuts is, you never knew, necessarily what was in it. You would pick it, but they've had blueberry, they've had strawberry, they've had raspberry, they've had cherry. I will tell you that I've been lucking out lately with raspberry. I'm not a cherry one though. I'm not.
Oh yeah, I don't blame you. I would pick raspberry as well.
That's not my world, but it's Lincourt. But you know what? The fact that someone outside of my family knows, I'm a happy man today. I think that did it for my day. So there's something about. I mean, seriously, you actually know Lincourt Bakery. That's a game changer right there.
Oh, it's the best. And I live downtown, and I could easily go over to Glaze and Confuse or to Harrison Bakery, which is also closer, but there's nothing that tops Lincourt.
There's nothing the same.
That's the truth.
That comment, smart words told from a smart person here. Carly DiCocco speaking the language here this morning. So Carly, I promised you before I let you go that I would allow you to flip the script on me. It's something we do here on the show called Rapid Fire, and I've done it for a very long time on Wake Up Call, and it allows me to hand you the microphone. So many times when people get interviewed, especially as a player or a coach, you never get to do the interviewing. So there's 4 questions. There's 4, and you can ask me anything in the world, in or out of the world of sports. Now that we know that we at least understand the quality of a good donut, I can only imagine what questions I'll get. But you now have me on the hot seat. I will answer any question you got whenever you're ready.
Okay, it's funny, though, because I have this or that questions planned, and donuts were one of them, so I'm going to have to substitute something else in. Okay, so this or that, dinosaur or limp lizard?
Oh, man. I just had the brisket discussion yesterday. Nobody makes good brisket, great brisket in Central New York. But the best brisket I've had is limp lizard, so I'm going to have to pick limp lizard.
Wow, even over the cornbread and the mac and cheese?
This is my thing, okay? Dinosaur barbecue, I enjoy them, but I feel like in the past you used to get more food. There used to be more to it. And
I agree.
And now it's changing. And you always worry about when a company gets bigger, do they lose their sense of self? So I'm just hoping that Dinosaur will, remember that, you started here, you grassrootsed it here. And if you're going to give anybody the majority of food, give it to Syracuse. So I like Dinosaur. I'm not going to say, no, let's not go. But Limp Lizard I met the man that made the brisket. And I respect that. I respect when somebody's running the place and they're cooking there all day. So I'm going to have to pick them.
Okay, and my next question is dome nachos or a dome dog?
Oh, man. Okay. Are we talking like dome nachos just with the cheese, or are there jalapenos and salsa?
Loaded.
Then it's got to be nachos. The dome dog has died over the years. The dome dog used to be so good, and now when I open it up, my stomach looks at me like, I hate you already. Like, before you even touch this thing, why don't you just eat it in the bathroom? So like, yeah, so I'm gonna say no to the dome dog because I don't know if it's food anymore. But the nachos, yeah, I rock with the nachos for sure.
Okay. Blue or yellow Gatorade?
Your questions are, I mean, did we grow up in the same place? So I'm gonna say yellow because it's the first one I had. So
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to go ahead. What?
Mine is blue.
What is your, like, the glacier one?
Yes, that was what my dad would bring to my sports games.
Okay, see
you know the twisty top ones with the thing you could drink out of?
Yeah.
Those.
Okay. See,
yellow's good though.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, so the lemon lime, when I heard about electrolytes for the first time and I was homesick, they're like, get your son some Gatorade. So my mom just picked up whatever she found and the lemon lime was there, and so that was like my first taste of Gatorade. So that's why I would choose that, I guess.
Okay. And the last one, again, I have to spitball this one because my other one was supposed to be about donuts. I guess like Possibilities or Francesca's.
Oh, man. You're going to get me in trouble with all these places. Dinosaur Barbecue is going to be like, really, Dan? I mean, listen. Wait a minute. Because I like your food. But I was thinking about brisket yesterday, and it carried over into today. So I would say, oh, man, Possibilities or Francesca's. I got to go with Francesca's because I want to say this off the air to you, Carly. So, like, but it's not bad. It's just my thought. But, okay, Possibilities has been over-sensationalized to me, and Francesca's doesn't get enough credit. So I'm going to pick Francesca's because I think as a card-carrying Italian, it feels more authentic to me than Possibilities.
They do have a great, like, patio outside, so I'll give them props for that.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to have to go with Francesca's. And yeah, I mean, the last time I went there, it was, see, what I like about Italian, like, really old Italian places are, and I'm guessing you have Italian blood with your vowel last name. So, am I correct in that?
Yes.
Okay. So, when you look at what an Italian restaurant's supposed to be like growing up, I joke about this, but, you know, I also think it's true that the restaurants were built that there was one door in the front and it was clear, and there was windows in the front, and that all of the tables in the room faced the door. So if like any Italian like family issues were going on and somebody drove up, you saw it before it happened and you could get out of the building or like run in the back or whatever. So Francesca's is set up like an old Italian like Little Italy thing where, you know, sometimes I live in a mob movie. Sometimes I just live in the Godfather world. And so I think Francesca's fronts that more authentically than a lot of places. And I think they're fine dining, like at night when you go there. I don't know. I think the ambiance is pretty cool too. So
that's a good point.
What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, I have food allergies, so I don't really eat there because they cannot accommodate my allergies. But my one funny story from that place, I went with my brother to pick up food, and we were standing there and they made a comment about him being my husband.
Nice.
And my brother and I just looked at each other like, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here.
That's yeah, I mean, I guess that would kind of ruin the moment of
experience there.
Yeah, it would probably mess with. So what are the food allergies?
I'm allergic to soy and gluten.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, gluten. Yeah. Gluten's one of those things where, and I'm sure this annoys you, just like when people tell me that allergies don't exist, yet my body freaks out every season. So when someone says gluten's not real, and like obviously for real that it's real. So I would and so I mean, like, so how do you navigate? Do you think that most places, like I used to work at Walt Disney World, and if they don't listen to your allergies, like that's a massive problem. But on a different scale, some places are different. Do you feel like people actually take it seriously when you tell them?
Yes and no. Like for soy, it's hard because sometimes I'll be like, "Oh, I have a soy allergy. Can you ask what they like fry the fries in?" And they're like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not." And then they come back, they're like, "It's not. It's vegetable oil." I'm like, "Okay, well, just so you know, that's soybean oil." And they're like, "Oh." And so sometimes it's a little hard, but with the gluten one, it's obviously so, massive over the country that most places have options for me. Like Possibilities has gluten-free pasta. And most places do have options for that. But yeah, sometimes I get a little nervous when I gotta ask. So I usually just try to fly under the radar and get a salad because I know that's safe.
Yeah, I remember my buddy did that down in Disney, and he told them that he had an allergy, and they said, "Well, why didn't you say anything before?" But it wasn't on the menu, so they blamed him for it. So that's a world that you have to navigate through a little bit better, to these businesses out there. I would suggest that they do. But, with that being said, I'm off the hot seat. I'm not answering any more questions about restaurants. So I'm going to stay out of trouble here in the community. But for Carly DiCocco, thank you, Carly, for coming on to the show today and sharing. I had no idea we were going to talk about Rob. So I think, beyond everything we spoke about in and out of the sports world, which I appreciate very much so, it was really cool to, hear stories about your father, about your experience, and more than anything, to be able to let Rob Edson live on today, which I think is really amazing. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed myself. I can't thank you enough for having me.
So that coming from Carly DiCocco. Carly, we'll talk with you soon. And in the meantime, if you go to Lincourt Bakery, just leave a couple Kiglies there, okay?
I'll be sure to leave a few.
Okay. Take care. Have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks. See ya.
Take care. That coming from Carly DiCocco here once again on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Getting to play at West Genny and then getting to coach at West Genesee. And like she said, so few get to live in that world, which is pretty incredible and pretty amazing. And anybody that knows a good Kigley, that's good people in society. So Carly, you spread that around to your loved ones and you let them know where it's at. And let enough people know, but don't tell everybody. Because it's like, I want Lincourt Bakery to be world renowned, but I also want it to be like our best kept secret here in the community. So with that being said, we will take a step aside for our final fast break of today's broadcast with a show that was truly filled with a lot of inspirational pieces and a memory to, or a reality to the fact, I should say, to live in that positive. And like Carly said about her father, about those moments, and something that happens is 5 seconds. It's not your entire day. And how often do we make the entire day about our 5 seconds where something goes wrong? So remember that. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up this week a Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora right here where sports meets life.
Cafe Cabal Mobile Cafe brings the cafe experience to you. We'll roll out to your neighborhood or office, ready to serve our locally crafted espresso bar to our loyal patrons. Inquire at cafecabal.com. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, located on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, is home to over 40 flavors with more than 200 flavors in their total wheelhouse. Sky's the limit for this sweet and savory Central New York company. Keep it local at your parties, fundraisers, wedding showers, baby showers, and more by calling 315-450-MA-PA. That's 315-450-6272 for popcorn bars with custom flavors and colors at your upcoming event. Make sure to visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. And for more information, go to maandpassnacks.com. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? The Millhouse Market, located on 3790 New York 13 in Pulaski, New York, is worth the drive every time. Make sure you make your way there. But before you go, download their app on the Google Play or Apple App Store. There you'll have everything at your fingertips, from their homemade breads and desserts to their quinoa bowls, rice bowls, salads, brick oven pizzas, and sandwiches that are named after the families that helped to settle today's Pulaski. Ingrained in our community and ingrained in our taste buds, the Millhouse Market is absolutely, positively worth the drive every time. So make sure that you make your way out there, as they are open Tuesday through Sunday, Tuesday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. And when I say open, that means that their drive-through is there for you to grab your food and go. They're also open in their general store inside, and the restaurant has been open on the weekends. And as we head back toward 100% capacity, we'll be able to accommodate you throughout the week. So make sure you stay close here to Wake Up Call, as well as to the Millhouse Market's social media, to find out more information. But Tuesday through Sunday, there with their general store as well as their drive-through, and on the weekends with their indoor dining bistro restaurant, which is really, really awesome to check out. And I feel so grateful that I've gotten to experience all the pieces of the Millhouse Market as they continue to evolve and create really great memories for us up in Pulaski, making it worth the drive every single time. With that being said, I want to thank you for listening in and watching this episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Somehow we are in April. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how March flew by. I feel like I was getting set and getting excited at the beginning of March for the start of March Madness. And here we are at the women's Final Four and the men's Final Four. The women will be here today on Friday. The championship will be on Sunday. The men will play on Saturday, and their championship on Easter Monday. So I'm excited to watch the games. I'm excited to see them. My best to Stanford, South Carolina, UConn, and Arizona for the women. And my best to Gonzaga, Houston, Baylor, and to UCLA on the men's side of things. In my hopes that D2, D3, and JUCO can get back to normal after this, because I'm happy we got to see D1, but it would have truly been great and fair if we got to see everybody. So my hopes for that for the future. But every little step forward, right, as long as we're moving forward and not backwards. Inside of MonPazPopcorn.com is what's popping. I want to thank Carvel DeWitt for the annoying moment of the week. Juanita Ward and Chick-fil-A Cicero here with Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, as well as honoring our true friends in the Top Dog of the Week, brought to you by Canine Camp Dog Daycare and Canine Kampground Dog Boarding. And, of course, Carly DiCocco joining the show for the first time ever, and hopefully having her back very soon, and appreciate the fact that she has that respect for Lincourt Bakery like I do and like the family does. So it's nice to know. That's what I'm going to take from today. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take her father, Brad, saying that, don't let something that happens for 5 seconds be your whole day. And what Rob Edson said to her, where you may not be where you want to be right now, but look how far you've come. So a lot of great words of advice coming from Carly DiCocco today, and hopefully you can take that and let it help you as I will let it help me today. So thank you to Carly, thank you to Juanita, and thank you to everybody that's joined us throughout the week inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. This is Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and Cafe Kubal is with you on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 208 North Townsend Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, and of course in Manlius on 343 Fayette Street as well. You can listen in and watch Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every Monday through Friday by going to mixlr.com/wakeupcalldt to listen, as well as the homepage of wakeupcalldt.com. And you can watch here on facebook.com/livenowdt and on youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. And from there, you will see these shows and hear these shows archived by searching Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on numerous outlets that are available to you for free, including Stitcher, Spotify, MixLR, YouTube, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and Podbean. Once again, search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on any one of these avenues, or the one word Wake Up Call DT, just like wakeupcalldt.com. Special thanks to our Central and Upstate New York partners. Now more than ever, it's important for you to grab a slice of pizza, go look at a car, grab your coffee or your tea, get some kettle corn for the games this weekend, drop your dog off in a place you can trust, or travel out to a place like the Millhouse Market, or sit there in the drive-thru with Chick-fil-A Cicero. These places, whether they have local or national names, have been so local to our community and have truly, especially in this past year, navigated through some of the toughest times that we never knew we would face, and we did it together, and we're always stronger together. Cafe Cubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Avicoli's, where you can use the promo code AVS10 at myavicoli's.com. That's AVS10. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Pizza Man, Honda City of Liverpool, the Millhouse Market, Canine Kampground Dog Boarding, and Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. Use the promo code DT20, that's DT20 at maandpaspopcorn.com to get 20% off all online orders for in-store pickup as well as for delivery. So if you're going to 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, to visit Ma and Pa's, if you order online for in-store pickup, it'll be there when you get there, and you get 20% off. So whether you're here in our community or you're somewhere else among the 50 states, you can order from Ma and Pa's popcorn.com and use my promo code DT20 to get 20% off. And of course, you can go there today like you've been able to go every Friday during Lent for their fish fry that is there with the Spud Shack right next to Ma and Pa's, and so you can make sure to go there for that as well. With that being stated, Facebook at WakeUpCallDT, Twitter at CallDT, and Instagram at WakeUpCall_DT. Follow me on all of those avenues and make sure you stay connected with us. That's how you're going to get the information first and foremost and the quickest. And of course, listening and watching live is going to do that for you as well. And as we always say on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, God bless, no stress, do your best. I'll talk with you soon. Be well.